Hello, I'm State Senator John Kavanagh, and welcome to another edition of Kavanagh's Corner, my video report to my constituents on the activities at the Arizona State Senate, and this edition is for the week of January 6th. So let's go over the bills of mine that passed out of committee and one even passed out of the floor. The first bill is SB 1175. This passed out of committee. SB 1175 expands the information that party personnel can get regarding registered voters. It also requires the county recorders to set up an online system where voters can check to see if their early ballot was received and whether or not it was counted. In addition, this makes it easier for the two major parties to get observers and participants in the hand counts so that we have more party involvement and more transparency. The second bill is SB 1201, Early Ballot Signatures, Electronic Poll Books. Now, electronic poll books are those, they look like little computer books, like Kindles, that a voter goes in and signs when they go to a polling place. Now, this signature is done often with the finger or a little scroll pen, and it has no resemblance to the person's real signature, which is done in the actual paper books. Some recorders are using these very uncharacteristic signatures from the electronic poll books to verify the authenticity of early ballots. Well, when you put that much variation in signatures in, it becomes very easy to say any signature is a correct signature. So this bill says if the signature was taken on one of these electronic poll books, that signature cannot be used to verify a signature on a mail ballot received by the recorder. The next bill in committee was SB 1133, and this is an appropriations bill which appropriated about $400,000 from the general fund to add to the spaying and neutering fund. There is a fund for the spaying and neutering of animals, dogs and cats, that gets most of its money from the specialty animal license plate, extra fees people pay for that plate. But there is not enough money in this fund to give to the various nonprofit animal welfare organizations who perform spaying and neutering in the community at a very, very low cost. This is an important service because if you don't have animals properly spayed and neutered, you wind up having many, many more unwanted animal births and strays, and it strains the system and costs more money. The next bill was Senate Bill 1134, Appropriations Named Claimants, and as the Appropriations Committee Chair, I run this bill which requires that we pay various citizens monies for legitimate claims they've made against the state. SB 1386 is my occupational licensure fee waiver. We're going to waive the fees for occupational licenses for several years because these agencies that collect these fees have overcharged for the past fees. So we're going to have free licenses and renewals for people, and we'll appropriate some extra cash so that if certain funds run out of money, we can feed it to them. But this is our way of making it cheaper to have an occupational license, which is necessary in these difficult times. Moving on to my bills that passed out of the Government Committee, the first one there was SB 1026, State Monies Drag Shows for Minors. This bill makes it illegal to use state monies either directly by a government agency at the state or local level from hosting a drag show, or from any government giving money to private organizations that host drag shows. But not just any drag shows. This bill targets drag shows that target minors as an audience. Now, regular drag shows are legal. They're protected by the First Amendment. So I'm not doing anything with those. But it is especially insidious when certain groups target children to see drag shows. And we've seen this in new occurrences like Drag Queen Story Hour, where drag queens go to libraries to read books to young children, and also drag shows targeted at families. These two types of drag shows specifically target young children, and I have a problem with that. Everybody should have a problem with that. Because first, young children don't understand when they see someone who appears to be a male dressed up as a female with exaggerated makeup and gestures. That can be confusing to young children, and we don't need to confuse young children. The second reason why I have a problem is that these shows are attempting to indoctrinate young children. We are involved in a culture war in this country, and the LGBTQ plus exclamation point ampersand community is attempting to make everybody accept all of the variations in that string of letters. In this case, transgendered people, people who cross-dress. Now, this should not be something that we indoctrinate children about. Our kids have time enough to get indoctrinated later on when they go to college. So we're going to say that there can be no municipal or state involvement in any drag show that targets children as an audience. SB 1093, City Water Provider Services. The people in the Rio Verde foothills are in the middle of a water crisis. Roughly maybe a third of those homes do not have wells, either because they never had them, they couldn't drill wells, or they had wells and they went dry. Now, for many years, the city of Scottsdale has provided water to them by pumping Scottsdale water system water through a standpipe near their area, and tanker trucks, private tanker trucks, would fill up with the Scottsdale Water Company water and deliver it to these homes, which had 5,000-gallon tanks. Scottsdale told them that they were going to cut them off about a year or two ago, and they have not been able to find another source of water in the interim. These people, some of them tried to form their own water district, but other people opposed it in the community, and the county supervisors eventually did not approve their own water district. So now Scottsdale has shut them off as of January 1st, and these people are having a very difficult time finding water to be trucked in. I feel for these people. This is their homes, this is their investments, this is their quality of life, and we want to get water to them. Fortunately, the EPCOR Water Company has agreed to provide water, but it has to get permits from the Corporation Commission, it has to locate a source of water, and it has to run a very long pipeline from that source to the Rio Verde foothills. Something which they think may take two years, give or take a little. So my bill, and by the way, Representative Coliden, also of my district, has a mirror bill in the House. It says that Scottsdale, because they previously supplied water to these people, because they now don't have any water, should continue to provide water to these people, so long as EPCOR is involved in getting them water, so long as the county supervisors acquire water from somewhere outside of Scottsdale that is delivered to the Scottsdale system, and then Scottsdale pumps it through their pipes. Scottsdale is fully reimbursed, and no Scottsdale resident is in any way jeopardized with any loss of even a drop of water. I think we'll get that bill passed, but my hope is that the city of Scottsdale will voluntarily agree to restore these water deliveries while EPCOR gets a new source for them. And I think they're moving in that direction. Hopefully it will be the case. The next bill, SB 1022, pedestrians and medians. You see a lot of people standing on traffic islands, and they're close to moving traffic, and quite frankly, it's dangerous. Some of them sell things, some of them panhandle for money. It is a traffic hazard. It's dangerous to them, and no driver wants to hit somebody doing this. So my bill says that for narrow traffic islands, or for just painted islands, that people cannot stay there. They can only cross these islands expeditiously to get from one side of the street to the other. I make an exception if you have an emergency, like your car broke down and you're changing a tire, or you're having a heart attack, or helping somebody with a heart attack. But other than that, nobody should be hanging out on these medians in the middle of the road. So we'll stop that dangerous activity from occurring. In addition, I have another bill, Public Rights of Way Unlawful Acts, which makes it illegal to put up tents or similar structures on streets, on street easements, on sidewalks, and similar areas. Quite frankly, there's really no reason for people to camp on the street. I know there's a homeless problem, but they should be going to shelters. And even if there are no shelters, then they should at least be putting their tents up somewhere away from the roadway. In terms of the education bills, I have SB 1174, which is an average daily membership count for student withdrawals. Right now, due to a quirk in the law, if a student is absent for the last day of the school year, the school gets dinged 10 days in terms of their monies. Well, that makes no sense. So we're just going to have them dinged for the single day, that last day absence. The final bill of mine that came out of committee is SB 1085. And this extends the amount of time that prosecutors have to do DUI prosecutions. Right now, DUI cases have to be filed within 1 year after the government is made known of the DUI arrest, which is when the cop arrests the person. The problem is when the DUI is also involved with a more serious crime, like vehicular homicide, because it was a drunk driver who killed somebody. Very often the prosecutors can't get the case put together for charging within that time frame. So this gives them an extra year to do that. So people who commit very serious crimes like vehicular manslaughter while they're driving while intoxicated don't escape the just punishment that they deserve. And my first bill actually got to the full floor of the legislature, and it passed out. And amazingly, it passed out with bipartisan support. All the Republicans voted for my bill, and I even got 2 Democrats to get on the bill. And this has to do with municipal elections, city and town elections. Right now, a few cities have partisan elections, much like the partisan elections we have for the state higher offices in the legislature, with primaries from different parties and Republicans squaring off in the general election against Democrats. Many municipalities don't have that. They have non-partisan elections, where all the candidates run in the first part of the election, which is kind of like a primary, and if any of them get over 50%, they win the election. If one office is not filled by somebody with 50%, then there's a second election for the two most highest scoring candidates to run against each other. But nobody knows if they're Republicans or Democrats because these are non-partisan elections. My bill simply says you can keep running your election that way. I'm not saying you have to have primaries. However, if a town or city council wants to, voluntarily, they can vote to have the party affiliation, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, or no party, in parentheses after the person's name. A lot of people don't know that much about town council candidates, and when you don't know anything, you look for other clues as to what they believe in. And a great clue is their party registration. If you're a conservative, you'll look for the Republican. If you're a liberal, you'll look for the Democrat. And my bill allows cities and towns to voluntarily do that. So, pretty busy week. I expect an even busier week next week with my bills moving through the committees and the systems. So if you tune in next week to Kavanagh's Corner, I'll be able to update you even further. But for now, this is State Senator John Kavanagh saying goodbye and thanks for watching.